Okay, good morning to all of you. Let's start today's class. It would be on analog to digital converters and digital to analog converters, and how there are some chips which is already available in the market, and how to integrate that with 8086. Okay, so that will be the focus, the integration with 8086 with the standard ADCs and DACs which are available in the market. Okay, this is how generally an ADC will be. ADC stands for analog to digital converter, which will be interfaced with 8086, right? Because most of the things in the real life is analog, whether it is the things which we see, that is the visual thing which we get, it is not a pure digital, right? It is a mix of RGB, so it could be infinite different combinations of RGB, right? So it is an analog input. Similarly, what we hear, so it is a n number of frequencies, and the amplitude can be anything, right? So what we smell, what we feel, everything, and human being is, you can consider as an analog device, right? But then processing analog signals is difficult, and we know the advantages of having a digital system, which we learned in the digital class. Okay, so there is a requirement of now to convert all these analog signals into digital signal, and then an interface with 8086. So you have we generally employ ADCs. Okay, you can use an 8255 to interface an ADC with 8086. Now if you see this, one of the ports of 8255, in this example say port A has been configured as an input port, but also these ADCs, once an analog signal is available here, it takes a certain amount of time for it to compute that analog signal into digital signal, right? So you need to give a control signal to the ADC. Okay, generally that control signal is known as start of conversion. Okay, so that signal needs to be given to the ADC. So you can use one of the pins of port C or port B to give that signal to the ADC. Okay, that you start the at this point you start the conversion from analog to digital. So that is known as the SOC signal, which is given to the ADC. Similarly, once the ADC gets that signal, it starts computing the analog signal into digital, and when it is ready with the digital signal, generally it takes around 1 microsecond for the ADCs which we are going to learn. There are faster ADCs also available. Okay, so once this digital signal is ready, the digital corresponding to the analog input, it would give an signal that is end of conversion to the 8285, and which in turn tells the 8086, okay, now the data is ready, you can read it. So this is how just a basic block diagram of how ADC is interfaced with 8086. Now if you see, this is 0808 and 0809. These are two ADCs which are commonly used, and it is the advantages is it is pretty cheap, first of all. Then it just consumes 15 milliwatt. It is compatible with large range of microprocessors. That means this ADC, which requires only 5-volt power supply, so it is compatible with 8086 and also with the TTL family of ICs. It has got moderate speed. It takes around 100 microseconds to compute the analog to digital input. It has an moderate accuracy, that is error is plus minus LSB. Okay, I'll tell you what this is. Okay, let's see the block diagram first. Okay, so this ADC can handle 8 analog signals, and there are 3 address lines ABC, and by giving appropriate signal to this ABC, one of the analog signals will be processed. Okay, it is not that all the 8 will be taken simultaneously, and it is also not a digital multiplexer. Understand, it is an analog multiplexer. Okay, depending on if it is 000 IP0, it is IP means input 0. So this analog signal will be processed and made into digital. If it is 111, IP7 will be processed. Okay, so this one of the signals will be taken care of, and inside this block, this is known as an successive approximation ADC. We will discuss this in the next slide. So what is these two blocks? But then it is after this is an successive approximation ADC, and then this is an output latch where you have an output digital available. Okay, so this digital is 8. Okay, 8 pins are available, right? So the total number of different analog inputs which can be represented is 2 to the power of 8, that is 2 to the power of, that is 256 different analog input signals. 256 different analog signals can be represented here. Okay, so is it clear how this 256 has come, and then what is the error? Okay, the error is like suppose the input range, okay, the range of the input signal is fixed by this V reference and V reference minus. Suppose it is 10. Okay, we give V reference as 0 and V reference as V plus as 10. Okay, that means the total range of this analog signal is going to be say suppose 10 volts. Okay, then these 10 volts can be represented by 2 to the power of 256 different unique digital inputs. So the accuracy will be 10 divided by 2 to the power of 256. Is this okay with everybody, how this error calculation has come? Is it okay? Okay.
Sir, one doubt.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that we're using an analog multiplexer here, 8-channel, and you said it's different from the digital multiplexer. What exactly is the difference here? Because both are accepting address lines input, and accordingly it will choose the one given.
Okay, so hardware wise, and when we implemented in CMOS, generally an analog multiplexer will be kind of an op amp, and we give the power supply, or whereas an digital multiplexer is just like an switch which is given like you have an inverter kind of things. It will be only 2 or 3 transistors, because it has to just handle the output has to handle only 0 and 1. Right, so the internal circuitry of that particular inverter, it could be a pass transistor also, where there are only 2 transistors, or it could be an inverter and a buffer, so which will have 4 transistors. So those kind of things, like, whereas an analog multiplexer means the input, it could be 0, the input could be 0, the output will be 0, and input, if it is 0.1, the output will be 0.1, right? So the voltage handling capacity of the multiplexer is different, right? Digital multiplexer is pretty easy to implement. It will because the output has to be only 0 and 1. Is it okay?
Sir, so in digital box we get only either 0 or +5 as output, but
Yeah.
here we can get in the middle also, like 0.1 or 0.7.
Yeah, it will be the exact replica of the input voltage. So that is known as analog, right? Okay. This aspect is has to be clear to all of you. Why is the error plus minus LSB, right? Because these once the input signal is converted into digital, it can be made into if 8 lines are there, 2 to the power of 8, like 256 different unique levels only can come, right? This cannot have infinite number of values, right? Because it is the digital input finally. So that is known as the conversion error. There will be a conversion error. This can have only finite values, 2 to the power of 256 levels. So if the total range is 10, so 10 divided by 256, okay, those many steps will be there. So that error will be plus minus LSB, right? Okay. So this is the pin configuration of 0808 and 0809. If you see IP0 to IP7, they are analog inputs. Then you have ABC 3 pins. This is ABC, which selects the one of the inputs which requires to be made digital, and then you have outputs 0 to 7, right? And then you have an start of conversion signal, which is an input pin, which we need to tell 0808 that okay, this signal is to be start the conversion. And then you have EOC, end of conversion, and this is wrongly shown the direction as in fact all the pins are shown. Don't worry about the direction, it is just shown this way. End of conversion is an output pin which tells okay, the conversion is over. this is output latch enable. So once we say end of conversion signal is given to the 8086, the 8086 will tell output latch signal to the 0808, asking it to latch the data onto a latch, okay, so that it can read from the latch. So this signal again comes from 8086. This is the clock for the ADC. This is an VCC and then ground. There are two supplies, and then V reference and a V minus. So a maximum, the range of analog input signals which this ADC can handle is plus 0 to plus 5 volts. Okay, so whatever input voltage is given. So you can give lesser voltage also, then because if you are because if you see the accuracy, suppose I am handling I have an input analog signal only from 0 to 1 volt, then why should I give 5 volt here? Because it will deteriorate my accuracy, right? I have ultimately only 256 different levels are possible, right? And then if I give 256 levels to the entire 0 to 5 volt, I will lose out on the accuracy. If my analog signal is only 1 volt, I might as well give it as 1 volt and 256 different levels between 0 and 1 volt. So that will give me more accurate output. So that is the reason these reference voltages are given, had to be given externally, so that flexibility is available with the designer. Right. So let me just give you a brief. This is not part of your syllabus, but I thought I'll just put this slide here. Successive approximation and ADC. This is the internal of this chip, how it works. So an input signal is available. So okay, you will do a sample and hold, right? Because once generally you have to, because input, even while doing the computation, if the input is varying, there could be a problem, right? So you sample and hold it first and do the conversion and then take the next sample. So this is what is known as a sample and hold circuit. It will sample the circuit out here. What an successive approximation register does is, suppose this is an 4-bit, and I am taking an example of an 4-bit out here. I give the reference signal here. So initially I give 10000 out here, right, the input voltage, right? So it will give, suppose I am giving a reference voltage of say 5 volt, okay, 5 volt. If I give 5 volt here, right, 10000 is exactly halfway through the, it is a 4-bit ADC, right? In this example I am showing you with a 4-bit ADC. So 1000 is around halfway mark, right? 1111 will be the highest data, 0000 will be the lowest, and 1000 will be the minimum. So what it does is, first we place 1000 here. So based on the V reference, since the range is 5 volt in this example, I am using full 5 volt. So once this SAR place 1000 here, it will give an output of 2.5 volt, okay, which is representing 100. So it will compare these two input signals, right? Now if the input signal is more than 1000, now it is going to place 1100, right? And if it is less than 100, it will place 0100, right? If it is more, right, if the input signal is more, okay, you start with the most significant bit 1000 and then you compare. In the next cycle, if you find the input is more, again the next MSB is also put 1, right? In case if it is less, then obviously the first MSB will be put to 0 and the second will be put to high. So this will continue for 3 or 4 cycles till the input matches with the signal which is generated from the DAC. So when these two signals are equal, then this will stop, and then you will have an equivalent binary output. Is it clear how the successive approximation ADC works? Okay, it will be further clear by I have put an example also to make it clear. For example, I have given an V in as 5.2 volt out here, right? So now you have a 5.2 input coming here. The first SAR output will be 1000. Now I am giving a reference of 10 volt, suppose, okay, although this is not a specific example to the ICs which we are studying, because those ICs have got only 8088 and 8089 have got only 5 volt and a maximum V reference. So this is just an example, okay. If I have put 10 volt out here, so if I put 10 volt here, the DAC will give an output of, this is digital to analog converter, okay, it will give back 5 volt. Now it is comparing these two signals out here, right? Now if you see, it is 5.2 and 2 is greater than this. Okay, now what will happen, it will put in the next cycle, it is going to put 1 here, it is going to put another one out here, right, another one out here. So what will happen, so it will be 2 ones out here, right, and then it will do the comparison, it will continue doing that till you get the final output. So that I have put it in a chart out here, right. So first I am going to put 100 here, and that will give an 5 volt output. It is being compared with the V in. So since V in is 5.2, right, so no, so this is, otherwise it would have gone to 0100, but since V in is greater, it will put 1100, and now 1100 corresponds to 7.5 volt. It is being compared with 5.2. So now since this is now this DAC input is high, it is going to put the next the 10 and 10 here, right. This one is going to be converted to 0 out here, and then it, because again this is, you will find this is higher. Okay, again in the next cycle this one is again going to be converted to 0, and you put 1 out here, right. Again you will find this is 5.2, it is still higher, so you are going to convert it again once more. So this is going to be put 0. So this corresponds to 5 volt. Now if you see, the input is 5.2, whereas the output, what finally digital output which we are going to get is 1000, which is equivalent to 5 volt. Yeah, I had a small interruption. Is it okay how this ADC works? Is it clear to all of you? Is it okay, Gandhi?
So could you explain it one more time?
Yeah, okay. See, what we are doing is, see, we are giving an V input signal here, right. This is an comparator. First the SAR, it will start by giving it 1000, that the most MSB will be 1, rest will be 0. So it will, so 100 corresponds to 5 volt. Okay, why is it corresponding to 5 volt? Because the total range is 10, right. So 0000 stands for 0, 1111 stands for 10. So 1000 is exactly half midway through, right. So that corresponds to 5 volt. So it will give an 5 volt. Okay, now if you see 100, V in is 5.2, this is 100, volt, right. So now V in is greater than V DAC output. V DAC is this output which is coming out here into the comparator, right. So V DAC, okay, once it is greater than that, what it does, in the next MSB, it is is from 0 to 1, you are making it 0 to 1. So 1100 corresponds to 7.5 volt, right. Now again we are doing a comparison between the input and the DAC. Now 1100, when it compares, it will see that V in is less than V DAC, because V in is 5.2 volt in this example, 5.2 volt, right. So 5.2 volt. So this is DAC. Now since it is greater, now the DAC output is greater. Now it is going to put a 0 here. This 1 is going to convert it to 0. This 0 is becoming 1 out here, right. So this is equivalent to 6.25. right, and then again you are going to compare it with the input signal, which is 5.2. Now if you see, again 6.25 is greater than that, so now it has become 1001. So this 1 has become 0, then next again 5.625 is also greater than that, so now you are putting this, and this becomes 1000. So this is equivalent to 5 volts. So this is the final output which we are going to get. Is it clear now to all of you?
Sir, so basically it will compare with the present value, and if it is lesser than, then it will decrease by 1, or else it will increase by 1.
Yeah. No, that correct. If it is less, that the next MSB, the next significant bit will be changed to 1, right. If it is less, then that bit will become 0, and the next bit will become 1. Is it okay? You keep comparing like that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is, now if you see, the final answer is 5 volt, because if you see, it is 10 volt, is 10 volt. So 10 divided by 256, it comes to 0.625. So that is the maximum accuracy it can have. So whatever is the 5 volt, and the next level will be 5.625. Now I have an input of 5.2. So whatever is the closest, so this is the closest available. So it will log on to that. So 5.2 will, once you convert it into digital, it will become 5 volt here. So that kind of errors will be there once we convert. Okay, if you want the errors to be less, instead of 8 bits, you have to go for 16 bit, 32 bits. Okay, that way. Okay, so that is not possible in the ICs which we are studying, but it is possible in other ICs. So this is our successive approximation ADC works. So there are different kinds of ADCs. So this is one of the techniques which is applied in ADC, which is known as successive approximation. Okay. Now this is the timing diagram. If you see, so you have this clocks coming here, and then you have the start signal coming from 8086. Also you will have an address latch enable, that is again coming from 8086 to, this is used to select that particular ADC, and then you have to give this an this is the starting of the signal, right? Okay, that to start the count. Okay, now the moment it gets start the count, and yeah, the end of count, end of conversion signal will go low, and once the microprocessor completes the computation, the signal will go high. Okay, telling that 8086, okay, I have done the computation. So based on that, the output enable signal will be given from 8086, and the output will be latched and it will be read. So this is how the timing diagram looks like. 0808 timing diagram. Okay, so this is one example in which we are interfacing 8255 with an 08088. So what is then? See, we are using port A to select. Here it says the input is analog input is to be read from port 2, input port 2. So now you have to select that input port 2, right? So we are using port B of the 8255 to give as input to ABC, so that we can read these signals, and so that the port 2 is selected. Okay, so that ABC is the address lines of 0808. So that needs to be selected, right, to select the port. So that is being done by using output from port B. So you have to also configure port A as an input out here. If you configure port A as an input, and you use the pins of port C to give the start of conversion, and you use one of the pins of port C for read of for the reading the end of conversion. So these are the interfaces which we do, right? Okay. So this is an program just written for the same problem definition. So if you see, this is the program for 8255. We are programming the first bit will be 1 because it is input output mode, and then port A is going to be in mode 0, and then it is going to be an input port. That is why this is 1 out here, and then this is ports upper port C, right? Upper port C is P7, that is also an input. So this is going to be 1. Then this is port B. This is going to be an mode 0 output port, and this is again port C lower, which is again an output. So sorry, because we are going to give an lower SOC signal. So this is an output. So this is the control word for that is 98H. So we move 98H into AL, and then we write into the control word of the 8255 first. Okay. After that we move 02 into AL register, and then we write it into the port B. Okay, 02 is to 02 is to select this port 2, right? So we have to give 02 into the out from the port B. We are going to select 0808 on input port 2. So that is the reason we are putting 02 into AL, and then we are moving it to port. Then we are putting a 0 into AL register to clear the data into the AL register clear, and then through port C we are first moving out 0, then we are moving 1 into AL, and then again moving it out into port C, and then again moving 0 into AL, again port C we are putting AL. So essentially what we have done is from the port C we have given a 0, 1 and then 0. So it is like giving a pulse output at port C. So that pulse output from here, if you see from P0, that will give a signal to the ADC to start the count, right? So once the count start, and then you wait here, and this is a loop in which you are reading from port C. Now once you are reading, because this input is going to come from here, right? Once the end of count input, we are waiting for that end of count input. So that is so what we are doing is we are doing a rotate with carry left. You read it and then you move it towards the right, because only the most significant bit here, only we are taking this one bit, so all others are 0. So we just have to check whether the most significant bit is 1 or not. So we are just rotating it along with the carry, so that most significant bit will be pushed out. If it is a 0, again you keep waiting it. If it is 1, okay, then if it is not 0, then you read the input from the port A. So this is a small program how to take configure 8255 and 0808. Okay. So now this is a simpler ADC also is available, which is known as 0804. In this there are no 3 input signals. Okay, there's only this is not multiplexed. So input is only one single input, which is given at V plus and V minus, single analog input. Okay, and then there are 2 pins for clock, which is known as clock and clock R. So we need to connect some resistance and capacitance between these V clock and VR. So it will internally generate a clock. So I'll give you that connection diagram also, how it is to be done. And then V reference, okay, that decides the maximum range that we have seen out here. These are the outputs which are available. It is again an 8-bit output available. So 256 different levels. Again, the accuracy of this also will be V reference divided by 256 will be the accuracy out here. Right now, to chip select, okay, that we know. Okay, now here there are 3 different signals which are available, pins are available. Okay, read bar signal, write bar signal is nothing but telling this ADC to start the conversion. Okay, so this is here the nomenclature used is write bar. Okay, write bar means to start the conversion. You have to select the chip and you have to give the write bar signal also. Okay, and then once the conversion is done, it will give an output, that is end of conversion, that will be available in interrupt signal out here. It is known as interrupt out here, but this essentially is end of conversion signal, right? And that this write bar signal, read bar signal is nothing but the latch. Okay, once it gives an interrupt signal, it is conversion. From 8086 we give a signal, okay, to latch the output, so that once it is latched, then 8086 will read the output. So only the nomenclature of the pins are different with respect to the previous ADCs. They are higher versions, so you can multiplex 3 different 7 different signals out here. Here and 8 different signals out here. In this, only single set of input signal is available. Okay, that is given between 6 and 7. And this is how this can be programmed for the different clock operation. We need to connect an one resistance out here, one capacitance here, and we ground it, and this is the configuration. Okay, you need to remember this configuration, the pin configuration. Okay, and the clock will be generated internally, and the clock frequency will be 1 divided by 1.1 RC. Okay, so the maximum frequencies which this ADC can work if you tune it with these RC values is from 100 kilohertz to 1460. Okay, so if you give 1460, it will work it will be in the fastest mode of operation, right? So so this is how we do the interconnections, and this is how we calculate the clock frequency. So you need to remember this connection as well as the formula to calculate the clock. Okay. So this is the timing diagram again, how 0804 is done. So you have the write signal going low here, and the chip select signal going low here, right? And it starts the interrupt signal will go high here, indicating that okay, now I am computing the analog to digital. Okay, once that computation is over, the interrupt signal will go low. Okay, once it goes low, then you have a read bar signal coming from 8086 telling okay, now I am going to read the data from 0804. So this is the timing diagram out here. Right now we'll just take on one last small topic, which is known as DAC. 0830 is the DAC which is commonly available. Again, it's an 8-bit converters. Okay, if there are other converters also, 10-bit, 12-bit, 16, they are going to have more complex bits. 16 bit also it can, so this will have a better accuracy, higher bits in DACs. Okay. So again here also 8-bit converter means 256 different analog output levels can be generated with the help of this DAC. If you give 000, it will generate one particular level, and when you write on a 1111, all the 8 bits are 1, it will generate the maximum analog output. So the total number of different analog outputs which is available is 256. Now if you have a 10-bit converter, you can generate 1024 different output levels. Okay. So this is again 0830 is a medium speed converter, and approximately 1 microsecond it takes to convert digital to analog signal. Okay. So it has got 2 latches out here, and then it has got a converter. Okay. The purpose of the 2 latches is once suppose one digital data is placed out here, you can transfer that data into the second latch out here using these control signals, so that while it is being converted, if there is a requirement, the latch 1 can be updated with the new data also. So the old data will be here, it is being converted. So it is like kind of pipelining. You fetch the digital data and you keep it here. So that kind of thing can also be done with 0830. Okay, you can bypass this total latch also by giving ILE signal as 1 and the chip select as 1. So if you find this will be 1 permanently, if this is done 1 permanently, these signals will be through and through, it will come to the latch. So you can use only one single latch also, or you can use 2 latch by using these control signals which are available with the DAC. Okay, so the digital data is latched and then it is being converted. Okay. Now this latch also is this DAC also uses an R to R ladder kind of thing to convert the digital signal into analog signal. Okay, so this is part of your analog IC course, analog electronics course. So I am just put this slide so to give a rough idea, so you don't have to mug up this for your exam. So if you see these are the digital input switches. Okay, if it is suppose all the bits are 0, the output will be 0. Now only if the LSB, this switch is put here, so depending on whatever reference voltage we have given here, so that reference voltage will be available at the output. Okay, since it is only LSB. Now if you put the second switch out here, right, and you have not put the first, only the second switch is on, then because of this network which is there, if we do a derivation, we can see the output which is available will be 2 V reference, and if you put this switch out here, it will be 4 V reference. If you put this switch out here, it will be 8 V reference, right? So and similarly, if you put a combination of this, then it will add up these two things. Suppose if I put this out here and both the LSB and the next switches on, the output will be 3 V reference. This is 2 V reference and 1 V reference. So this is known as the R to R ladder DAC. Okay. So this is how the output. So all these derivations you will study in your next course. Analog, you will have to study about the op amp first to understand the derivation. So I have just put this slide just to give you a rough idea. This is not part of your present syllabus. Okay. Similarly, this here we are switching and we are taking a V reference out here. Whereas the same thing we can use by current switching. This is known as the different currents are available. So you switch. This is an 8-bit R to R ladder, which is the case for our IC. So when you switch on this out here, so the output, the total current out here will depend on the number of switches which is placed here. So as you move from B0 to B7, the weightage will be, so the same current will be flowing here everywhere, but because of this R to R ladder, the total effect out here, here it will be the 8 times the current will, the net current which will flow into this op amp will be 8 times more. So the weightage out here for this bit will be higher. So that is how it converts these digital bits into corresponding analog signal, right? So this is the IC which it looks like. So the pin diagram is shown out here. These are the digital inputs out here. These are the outputs available. Okay, these are the 2 outputs. So one can be grounded and the other will be I. Okay, it is not actually the voltage, it gives an current proportional to the input signal. So that is why it is known as I output. Okay, so this is the current network which is within the DAC, and you need to use an op amp to convert that current into voltage. So this op amp need to be connected external to the DAC. Okay, so this is an switch. This switching network is available within the DAC. So the current which is available from the DAC will be proportional to the bits, okay, digital input. Okay, and that current needs to be converted into equivalent voltage. That is done through an op amp. So that so these are the two output available, currents available, which is corresponding to the analog current, which is corresponding to the digital input. Okay, so then you convert out here an op amp. You use an op amp, and then you can use to drive it a motor or something. So depending on the digital input, you get an corresponding analog current, and then using an op amp you convert it into analog voltage, and then you drive any motors or whatever is the analog device which needs to be connected. So this is about the DAC. Okay, so in this lecture you don't have to remember too much in depth about how what is there inside these circuits and all, because that is not yet covered in your syllabus. But superficially you should know what is the accuracy levels, what are the what it functions, what is the basic function of these DACs, and how they are interfaced with 8086. So this much you should be knowing. Okay, so with that we come to an end of this class. If there are any doubts, you can ask me now.